Hello everyone, it's me, Mitch. Welcome to our video on the best upcoming PC games of 2023. There are so many exciting titles on the horizon, and we can't wait to share some info about them with you. Whether you're a fan of RPGs, shooters, or strategy games, 2023 has got you covered. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the top upcoming PC games of 2023. Coming in first, Starfield. Firstly, we have one of the most awaited games from the last few years. Starfield was announced back in 2018, finally releasing in 2023. It is a single-player action role-playing game set in a space-themed world, developed by Bethesda Game Studios. It is set in an area 50 light-years away from solar systems called the Settled Systems. The year is 2310, and the two largest factions of the game are engaged in a conflict called the Colony War, some 20 years ago. The player assumes the role of a customizable character who is a member of Constellation, an organization of space explorers. The game can be played in either first or third-person perspectives. The new game engine is definitely promising, but the story and setting have already sold the game for many of us. Up next, Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl. Another long-awaited and delayed game, it is a post-apocalyptic open-world first-person shooter from the classic Stalker series. You explore the Chernobyl exclusion zone set after the second massive explosion of 2006, which is now full of dangerous enemies, deadly anomalies, and powerful artifacts. The exploration of the world is its key highlight, full of radiation, mutants, and secrets. The choices you make in-game will set your story as you go deep into the heart of Chernobyl. The story is non-linear, with a variety of paths that can lead to one of several endings. Also has hardcore survival mechanics like hunger, sleeping, bleeding, radiation effects, so tread very carefully. Hands down, it has the most cutting-edge graphics and post-apocalyptic atmosphere we have ever seen in years. Up next, Atomic Heart. It's an upcoming FPS action role-playing video game. The story takes place in the alternate reality Soviet Union of 1955, where robotics have advanced to insane levels. The main protagonist is a mentally unstable KGB special agent sent to take out the robots that went haywire. The combat in the game consists of shooting and slashing with improvised weapons. There is also a crafting system where the weapons can be built from parts that are detached from robots. Weapons can also be upgraded later on. Ammo in the game is scarce, and there is a quick time event also. The player wears a special glove which grants him powers such as telekinesis, freezing, and electricity, which can be combined with weapons. Overall, this is a wacky FPS which has massive potential. Up next, Skull and Bones. It is an upcoming action-adventure sea pirate game developed by Ubisoft. Players assume the role of an outcast who will venture into the giant world to make a name for themselves. It is set in an open-world environment and played from a third-person perspective. Players can customize Pirate Captain and play solo for the single-player campaign, or they can gather up to 5 other players for PvP gameplay in disputed waters. A core component in the multiplayer is a new mode called Loot Hunt, where 2 groups of players are challenged in treasure hunting to further accumulate their riches. You can also collect additional ships throughout the game with weapons including mortars, broadside cannons, and rockets. From ship battles to being a rogue pirate, this game has everything. Up next, Vampire the Masquerade: Bloodlines 2. It's an upcoming action role-playing game which is a direct sequel to Bloodlines 1 of 2004. The game follows a human who is killed and revived as a thin blood vampire, with relatively weak vampiric abilities. The place is set in 21st century Seattle, a city full of alluring, dangerous characters and factions, and as everyone has hidden agendas, you need to choose your allies wisely. The players assign their character one of 3 upgradable powers before joining one of several vampire clans. Players can approach situations in a number of ways, like be brutal and unflinching, or cultured and seductive. You're going to need charm, cunning, terror, and everything at your disposal to rise through vampire society. The story is well written and full of intriguing characters that react to your choices. Next, Diablo 4. It's another very anticipated upcoming action role-playing game developed by Blizzard Entertainment, and is the 4th main installment of the Diablo series. The game leads in replayability, procedurally generated dungeons, and loot-focused character building. While new features such as an open world and PvP will be included as in previous versions, the core formula for the series' gameplay revolves around gradually obtaining stronger equipment by defeating increasingly difficult enemies. Enemies are fought using different character class skills, which can be customized by equipment and talent trees. Enemies are split into monster families, which are defined by a theme, combat style, and their location. After witnessing the disappointment of Diablo 2's remake and Immortal, we really hope this one is not the same. Next, Street Fighter 6, an upcoming fighting game developed and published by Capcom, reviving the good vibes of Street Fighter games. It features 3 game modes: Fighting Ground, World Tour, and Battle Hub. Fighting Ground has local and online battles, as well as training and arcade modes. Basically, all where 2 fighters use a variety of attacks and special abilities to knock out their opponent. World Tour is a single-player story mode featuring a customizable player avatar exploring environments with action-adventure gameplay. The main fighting gameplay of Street Fighter 6 is based around the drive gauge, a system designed to encourage player creativity. Between the modern control scheme, fun battles, and the great battle hub, Street Fighter 6 is going to be a game best enjoyed with a group.
Street Fighter 6.
Up next, Baldur's Gate 3, an upcoming role-playing game developed by Larian Studios. It is the 3rd main game in the Baldur's Gate series, which is itself based on the Dungeons & Dragons tabletop role-playing system. Having been in early access for what seems like an age, it is finally going to launch as one of the most hyped games. It offers both a single-player and cooperative multiplayer elements. Players can create 1 or more characters and form a party along with AI characters to explore the game's story. Originally, players will be able to take one of their characters and team up online with other players to form a party. The new combat is fantastic, and there is going to be a consistent stream of new content to explore. Up next, Path of Exile 2. It's described by developers as somewhere between a sequel game and a massive expansion. This sequel will not be installed as a separate game, but instead will be installed on top of the original Path of Exile. It is one of the best free-to-play games out there, and this new expansion, which is also free, is just going to make the game even more massive. 19 new Ascendancy classes will be introduced. The skill gem system will be rehauled, and character animations. Models used throughout the game are going to get updated for the latest systems, while the engine itself is going to see some improvements too. In Path of Exile, just sitting back and slaying enemies in labyrinth-like maps is kinda therapeutic already. So doing it in a brand new campaign with 7 new chapters is going to be very exciting. And last but not least, The Wolf Among Us 2. It's an upcoming episodic graphic adventure game being developed and published by Telltale Games. It's a sequel to the 2013 game The Wolf Among Us, with the title taking place 6 months following the events of the previous title. There was a time when Telltale Games and its various imitators ruled the earth, constantly publishing intricate narrative adventures with well-written characters and strange worlds. Gameplay was limited and often janky, but that allowed for more room for storytelling. Telltale's then imploded under the weight of top-level mismanagement and crunch. But The Wolf Among Us is returning as Telltale finally gets its act together. A twisted fairy tale world built on myths and legends. It's going to be the best of genre-defining title of 2023. And with these, we wrap up our video on the best upcoming PC games of 2023. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more gaming content. Until the next time, happy gaming.